I don't get physical. I don't get physical. I don't get physical. I don't get physical. One, two, one.
Hello, my dear friends. Operator Starsky here. As always, it's a pleasure to see you guys. Okay, before we start, I have three updates. Update number one, there is a fundraiser made by Janine, our mercenary moderator. I hope that she's in the chat right now and she will drop her link. It's a very, very important one. It's for our guys. Update number two, I would really like to brag about this setup that I have right here, this beautiful microphone boom that you can see here. Oh my god, I broke everything. I have it because I have friends, and this one was delivered by Snow Chains, also known as Simon. Guys, if you like to know who funds and supplies Ukrainian and pro-Ukrainian YouTubers, that is not CIA, that is not, unfortunately, Mossad, not even George Soros. He didn't pay me yet, but that's literally an ordinary guy from United Kingdom called Simon, and he supplies Ukrainian and pro-Ukrainian YouTubers with such beautiful microphones, microphone booms and everything else. And just like big thumbs up to Simon. Simon, thank you so much. And update number three, I forgot because I'm old. Anyways, today Tucker Carlson went to Russia and he has an interview with Lavrov. The Lavrov, the dying horse, and just so you could understand why we call him a dying horse. So this is Lavrov, Russian Minister of Foreign Affairs. Tucker Carlson is so unbiased, my friends. He already had 2 interviews in Russia. He's so objective. He's like the top objective journalist, the toppest guy you can find in this regard. He already interviewed Putin earlier this year, and now when they realized that, yeah, this was effective, but we can do better, they invited him one more time so he could interview Lavrov. Why Lavrov, not Putin this time, is because Lavrov knows how to speak. He's a Minister of Foreign Affairs, and he knows what to lie about. He's the most cynical and cunning Russian diplomat who never says truth. Like, never. And he's a good spokesman because basically he represents the opinion of the terrorist federation. He can represent terrorist federation officially because he's official spokesman for the terrorist federation. Hello Scotland and Norway and all the beautiful countries that are here with us today. So last time he interviewed Putin, I'm talking about Tucker Carlson, and of course Putin didn't do well with his interview because Putin is let's be honest, he's not an opinion maker, okay? He's a decision maker, but he's not an opinion maker. He cannot talk properly, you know. And when Tucker Carlson had an interview with Putin, even judging from the face of Tucker Carlson, you could tell that Carlson was impressed. It's not something that he expected to hear from Putin, but anyways, now there is like a hardcore Russian bullshitter Lavrov to interview, and whatever he says will be delivered directly in the ears of the American audience and brainwash them a bit more. Of course, Russians use a lot of television to spread their propaganda, and this is something that we will talk about tonight, my friends. We will talk about the Russian disinformation, and I have a fresh case to show you guys. I'm extremely lucky to have found this case because I saw one video like several months ago, and then boom, I see a different one from the same Anyways, Russian television, my favorite topic, you know, Russian television that was brainwashing me so bad when I was a kid. I still remember that. UFOs, oh my god, Atlanteans, Russian ancestors, and everything else. Russian television is probably one of the few televisions that have the biggest amount of all kinds of shit related to UFOs, mediums, I don't know, spirits, ghosts, and things like that. I love it. Absolutely love it. The only show that they had that was literally interesting to watch was, you know, like when they have a bunch of guys, a bunch of smart people in the studio, and they ask them like a question, and they have to work really hard as a team to find the answer, like a solution. And Добрый вечер из Німеччини, Guten Abend. It's very nice to see you tonight with us, of course. Yes, Cheryl, Lavrov called Zelensky a Jewish Nazi. He also said that Hitler was a Jew. They believe this, like they do really believe this. And then on the Russian television, actually since the Soviet times, there was this interesting show called Что, где, когда, which can be translated as what, where, when. And there were like a bunch of intellectuals. The questions were extremely cool, and I can say that a lot of intellectual people were raised watching this show, and recently Russian censorship agency called Roskomnadzor decided to close this show, as well as a bunch of other similar shows on the Russian television, because Russia doesn't need smart people. You don't need smart people when you're a despot. You need slaves who don't think. That is simple answer to why they did it. Okay, but speaking of today's case, guys, it is absolutely amazing. Of course, Russians use television a lot during their wars. They send all kinds of journalists, so-called journalists, basically war criminals. There was this Parechenkov, Russian actor, who then became so-called journalist on the Russian TV. And you know one rule for the journalists, right? If you're on the battlefield and you're wearing like the blue helmet and the vest saying press, you're not allowed to touch weapons. Yes, you might get killed, of course, because for example, Russians killed plenty of journalists, Reuters, French press, I believe, etc. But generally, as a journalist, you're not supposed to touch weapons. And Parechenkov became known for shooting while there at the Donbass, while interviewing the hybrid Russian troops. He took the NSV, I believe the heavy machine gun, and he started shooting at Ukrainian defenders in the Donetsk airport. It was 2014 or 15. So Russians, like guys, Russian journalists are war criminals, just like their invaders, just like their terrorists. That is 100%. Nothing is different. Absolutely. And I think there is Janine there in the chat, and she will share her link with us, guys. Again, please check it out because this is extremely, extremely important. So television, Russian television on the front lines. There are so many cases. I'm sure you saw them as well. So many cases of them interviewing, for example, Ukrainian prisoners of war who say, like, our commanders suck, they treat us so bad, and Russians they're just fantastic, they treat us so well. We would love to serve in this amazing, unstoppable Russian army and things like that. Then they interview Russian prisoners of war returning from Ukrainian captivity with faces freaking twice as big as mine. You know, like they got like fat in Ukrainian captivity, and they return and they go, yeah, we were not given food. We didn't see like Red Cross, you know, Ukrainians treat us so bad, and yada yada. And then Russians interview people on the streets, and people on the streets go like, if it's a frontline territory, they go like, yeah, Ukrainians are shelling us constantly every single time. I swear, Patrick, they do. Recently I found extremely interesting video of a woman who went to the Russian territory together with her daughter and her newborn grandkid. And I watched this interview and I'm like, familiar face. Guys, I translated this one for you. I don't know how to use AI translation. I'm not there yet. But check this out.
Постоянно, то за водой надо поехать. Ну, короче, мы выживали. Не дай бог оказаться в такой ситуации, тем более ребенок маленький, ни врача, никого.
They had to survive because they needed to go find water. No doctors whatsoever. No help, no supplies, no support. They were completely abandoned, and Ukrainians were constantly shooting. It was a hell. It was a true hell for a civilian, of course, with a small kid, with a family. It's a horrible, horrible situation. Horrible Ukrainian troops shooting constantly, you know, etc. No water in the whole city. How do you survive? I have no idea. But then I was like, I saw this woman. I freaking did, because, you know, I'm monitoring this stuff. And I started digging. And what I found was that this lady, she actually comes from Kursk Oblast. And I'm like, dude, I think I recognize her. So I found the video. It's amazing.
Сегодня был детский педиатр. Памперсы привезли. Господи, химию, порошок. Все для маленького.
Ух ты, ух ты. Как вообще украинские солдаты к вам относятся? Честно скажите. Не потому, что они тут стоят, а на самом деле.
Очень хорошо. Не то, что очень хорошо. Наши пусть что-то и слушают. Такого отношения вообще не было. К нам хоть раз русские приехали? Нет. Честно говорю. Помогли родить тут и все. Дочка, может, при родах бы умерла.
Да вы что?
Говорю, умерла бы, если бы не помогли. Мало ли что.
Наши украинские солдаты, да?
Помогли. Врач военный.
How do you like that? You know, I don't blame this woman personally because I have no idea why she went to the Russian side, okay, from the Kursk Oblast of Ukraine, but like she had her reasons. But generally in Russia, when they tell you, can you say this on camera, please? Usually you can all say no. For a simple reason, because in Russia, if you lived on the territory occupied by enemy, you know, you're considered a traitor or a collaborationist, and you can go to jail. And Russians can easily put you in the jail. They don't need a reason for that, actually. In May 1945, after the war finished, and all the Soviet prisoners who were kept in German camps returned back to the Soviet Union, they went straight to jail. And I was talking about it in the previous episode. They went straight to jail because they were considered traitors. Because if you live in Russia or on the territory occupied by Russia, there's no way back. You should die, right? Russians don't care about human life. That's why they send people in the meat assaults. They don't care about their own personnel, their own subordinates. They should die. That is a Russian agenda. It's a known fact, right? Therefore, she could not say no. I've seen videos of our own soldiers who were taken as prisoners on the first day of the Russian invasion. Actually, those were the conscripts that were captured at the radar station in Hostomel. And why they were captured was because this radio station, the radio locator, the radar, it was located very, very far from our main positions. That's why they unfortunately got cut from the main forces, and Russians captured them alive. There were 6 guys, and later, literally within a month, I believe, they returned back. So when we interviewed them, they said we did like videos with Russians. They were like asking questions. We were forced to answer only this way, right? That commanders treated us very bad, that we were sent to die, and things like that. Like there's Nazi in Ukraine, of course, you know. And I saw those interviews myself. We said, guys, don't worry, everything's fine. Relax, you're home finally. Generally, that's the rule. For example, in Israeli army, you have to say whatever they ask you. This is the rule in the Israeli army. When you're captured, you have to just say everything. You have to like betray your commanders, tell them everything you know for real. You have to say whatever they ask you to say on the camera, even if it's bullshit. But this is a survival shit. This is something that you have to do, and our guys were forced to do the same thing, as well as this lady on your screen. And there's another one, actually, another one that I found, and courageously translated it for you because I don't know how to use AI anyways.
У дочки начались схватки, ехали волонтеры. Я их попросила отвезти в Суджу, там найти военного врача. Привезли врача, отошли в воду, все, нас приняли, все прекрасно. Покушать привозили, так привезли, мы только приехали сюда, они на другой день, но они не были в Суже. Привезли печенье, сахара привезли, потом чай привезли, понавозили все, сыр, воды. И приезжали почти каждый день.
My friends, the volunteers were coming every single day. In the first video, let's watch it one more time. She says that it was really hard. You had to find water, you had to find food. We were starving, we were thirsty, we didn't know what to do.
Жили очень, конечно, тяжело. Стреляли постоянно. То за водой надо поехать. Ну, короче, мы выживали. Не дай бог оказаться в такой ситуации, тем более ребенок маленький, ни врача, никого.
Literally, no doctor that helped her deliver a baby, no water from the volunteers visiting her every single day. And I called this video like extraordinary Russian lies, even though this seems like an ordinary Russian lie. Of course, Russian citizens will see that on the video. I think it was made, just a second, was it on the Russian national television? I believe. But nonetheless, what makes it extraordinary is that it doesn't even require to be debunked. Literally, the truth is out there for you to see. Good evening, Tom Lobos. It's so cool to see you here with us. When people say that, we consume information from mainstream media, from Ukrainian media, because it's mainstream, protecting the law, defending justice, fighting for the right thing. It's like it's a mainstream, right? But then we also watch Russian media to understand where's the truth, because the truth is in the middle, right? Maybe like invading other countries, raping toddlers, etc. This is the truth. This is something that we should allow, right? We must understand where's the middle. But Russian media, they're state-funded. They are made to spread bullshit. If there is no freedom of speech in Russia, what is even the point of watching their content? I have no idea. But anyways, speaking, by the way, of raping toddlers, there was this crazy case that I talked about early in the beginning of the invasion, when Russian, I believe he was conscript, and he was a young Russian boy, 21 years old, I believe. Roman Bычkov. So what he did, he made a video of raping a Ukrainian toddler with a toothbrush. Of course, it raised a lot of questions, like where were the parents of the baby, right? What did he do with the parents? What did he do with the kid after he raped him, right? It was a boy. What did he do with the kid later? So it was crazy. I saw fragment of the video that was shared in the Telegram. I saw a lot of shit in my life, but that was fucking insane. So he raped him with a toothbrush. He then brushed his teeth with the same toothbrush. And then he shared this video on Telegram somewhere. He shared it with his friends. That's how this video reached his command, apparently, or Russian crime enforcement, their police. And he got detained, and then they brought him to the mental facility in Russia, or to prison, something like that. I believe that he went to prison, but for people with mental problems, And why I mentioned this prominent Russian soldier? So I mentioned him because Russians allow convicts, no matter what you did. Ukraine too. Ukraine allows convicts to serve in the army, but in Ukraine we have strict rule. We only allow thieves, people who didn't commit homicide, who didn't rape, people who did crimes, basically, smuggling stuff, or stealing stuff. They allow them to serve. In Russia, that is literally anybody. Please check out my previous streams called Heroes of Russia or Criminals Devour Russia. I think I dedicated 2 streams to that. Freaking Satan worshipper who killed several teenagers, and later he received pardon because he went to the special military operation and things like that. This dude, he can receive pardon as well. So after committing that insane shit in Ukraine, right? He went to prison. In prison, he can ask them to bring him back to the front. And they can do that because Russians need manpower. And he can basically return home, then go to Ukraine and do what he did. And later, if he survives, of course, he can return back to Russia, which I don't care, of course, but generally he can be pardoned. He can be forgiven for this. And basically, this crazy place on the map of the world is the place where Tucker Carlson decided to go to interview Lavrov, the dying horse. That is so insane. You know, if somebody told me, like in 2018, that we will be witnessing these things, like people being shot on the streets of Bucha or attacked with drones in Kherson, basically human safari, or that we will be fighting DPRK troops, I would never believe that. But this is 2024. This is unfortunately the World War III fought on the territory of Ukraine, when Ukraine is attacked by the terrorist regimes of Russia, Iran, and North Korea. That is crazy. Also China. We can include China as well. The other day, I saw this amazing obituary. We talked about the fastest Russian death, I believe, on the UA TV in the Frontline Focus. I mentioned the guy who signed contract in September. No details when exactly on September, but presumably on the 1st of September. And like 6th of September, he already died. He died in Ukraine, which again raises questions. Training, 2 weeks of training is not enough. But literally signing contract and dying in 5 days, like Monday you signed contract, Saturday you're dead. That is Russian style, okay. So currently that is literally the record, I believe. There was another one, I remember. There was a guy who signed contract, but some time passed. He received training, obviously. Then his family brought him to like the barracks before the department. They said goodbye. In 2 days, he died. Like he just arrived and died. But this is a mystery to me. But on the other hand, what kind of mystery are we talking about? This is the mighty and unstoppable Russian army. So I found another obituary. Again, this dude died pretty fast, not as fast. He died in approximately 2 weeks, right? Take a look at this face, literally how young he is. And I translated this text for you, not myself, using the computer this time. Looking at this face, I'm sure you think, holy crap, this dude is literally boy, right? He's like, 18 or something. So I translated this one for you. Let me make it larger. In the Omsk region, the people said goodbye to a young contract soldier who died at the special military operation of invading Ukraine. The death of a native citizen of Omsk, Yegor Lipin, was reported in the group People from Siberia. Yegor was very young, according to the public. He graduated from the 9th grade. He didn't finish high school, basically. He graduated from the 9th grade in 2018. After that, he started a family and he had a son. November 13, 2024, Yegor signed a contract. November 18. No, it's not even 2 weeks. It's basically like 5 days. Yeah, we have another record. Yeah. November 13th, he signed a contract. November 18th, he died. And he got buried and whatever. When I published that record, this one 5 days, that one 5 days, that is insane. So when I published that Russian record of personal self-annihilation, I received a lot of angry commentaries like, how can you celebrate the human tragedy? I have no heart, my friends. I literally have no heart because I'm talking about Russian invaders who volunteer to go to Ukraine and kill Ukrainians, and I'm talking about them without respect. They volunteered to go to Ukraine and kill my people, and I'm talking about them without the necessary respect. That is a big issue that people find in my videos. So I have another video for you, my friends, and let me show it to you.
Я лузянин Владимир Сергеевич, 16 июня 91 года рождения, с Сахалинской области, город Хомск. Там жена, ребенок остались. 19 октября текущего года мною был подписан контракт с Министерством обороны, поскольку нужны были и деньги на ребенка, на погашение кредитов, ну, то есть для финансовых нужд, скажем так. Плюс еще менты сели на хвост за мою неудачную коллекцию Второй мировой войны.
So we just saw an interview with a captured Russian prisoner. He was captured not long ago, where he says that he signed contracts and he went to Ukraine to kill Ukrainians because he needed to upkeep his child and he needed to pay out for the loans that he made. And also, he was collecting things from the World War II era, and basically later in the video he explained that it's like related to handguns, machine guns, and things like that. So basically illegal stuff that can bring you straight to jail, right? Because you cannot save such things in Russia, for example. In most countries it's illegal to keep unregistered weapons. And he said this was the reason why I decided to sign contract and go to Ukraine and basically murder people because I needed money. My kid required money. My kid requires funds. My loans that I made because I needed whatever, new phone, a car, or even make a renovation at home. I had to take a loan. However, I don't think it was the reason, but anyways, I took loan, then I took another loan, and because I didn't have money to pay for those loans, to pay them out, I decided to sign contract and go kill Ukrainians. Unfortunately, I had to do that. There is absolutely no other way for me. You know, there is absolutely no other solution. I cannot find money otherwise than legally killing those like Ukrainians in Ukraine, in a foreign country, right? It's absolutely legal in Ukraine, in Russia right now, right? You can go to Ukraine and legally kill people. How cool is that? So that was my motivation. You know, as a father and previously married, you know, as a person who had a family, I can completely understand him. Seriously. What I cannot understand, and please guys, explain this, you know better, I'm freaking stupid, I don't know life. You know much more than me. Please explain this, because this is something that I cannot understand. Why is it our guilt as Ukrainians that people like him make loans, make debts, that people like him don't have money to upkeep their kids, that people like him collect illegal stuff and later have problems with the police. What is our guilt? Why are we to blame? Why should we suffer? Because he has loans and he has no money there in Russia, in his own country, where he lives, in his own foreign country, far in the freaking Sakhalin. If you don't know where Sakhalin is, check it out. It's the other part of the globe. Why is it our guilt? Why is it our fault as Ukrainians that Russians who have problems at home in their own country come to Ukraine to kill us and solve their problems by killing us and get paid by killing Ukrainians or like Syrians? I don't know. Why is it our fault? That is something I cannot explain. You know, I can understand that people have problems and people can do crazy things when it comes, to upkeeping family, and things like that. But if it's about, solving those problems by killing others, that is something I will never understand and I will never explain. Then there's a lot of Russians saying, we cannot do anything. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, we cannot escape the army or like mobilization. We're forced to go join the Russian army, like this young kid here, right? He studied like 9 years, right? And then he decided that fuck school, let's just make kids and then make debts and make money by killing Ukrainians, right? But generally they say we don't have choice. We don't have choice because we cannot protest against Putin. We will be killed, right? We will be repressed, and we should just follow orders and follow commands and everything will be right. As a Ukrainian who spent quite some time participating in 2 revolutions, generally I never told you about the Orange Revolution, that's an episode for another time, but as a Ukrainian who participated in the Revolution of Dignity and then volunteered for the front, like 2015, I freaking volunteered. I will never understand people who say we don't have choice, because you do. Because whatever happens in your country, you do have choice. Always. And even the guys, also Russians, but fighting against Russian invaders, that is Siberian Battalion, that is Legion Freedom for Russia, and that is Russian Voluntary Corps. Those guys can also confirm that you always have choice. And even Belarusians confirmed that. The regiment of Kostuy-Skalinovsky, the Belarusian volunteers fighting in Ukraine against the Russian invaders, they will also confirm that you always have choice, no matter what. It can be good choice, it can be bad choice, but there's always choice. You can always do better. When people say we are forced, we cannot change anything, we cannot do anything, look at the Revolution of Dignity, look at dictator Yanukovych, who had the most expensive villa in the post-Soviet space, because our children couldn't have proper nutrition at schools. That's why he had extremely nice villa, right, in Mezhigirya, not far from Kiev. Look at Yanukovych, currently living his last years in Russian Rostov. You always have choice. Sometimes you have to sacrifice, sometimes you have to fight for freedom and democracy, but you always have choice. Don't justify yourself that you cannot do anything. Because you can. Because we are human. So this was another one. Do I have anything else to show you guys? I had several crazy things to show, but generally, like, I am moving, seriously. I'm moving to a new apartment because we got kicked out from this one, and like right before the new year. And moving is hard because it's not just moving things. You have to clear and renovate here, clear and renovate there, and still do your job. And that is extremely uneasy task. But we can do this because we're human. There's nothing impossible for us. Alrighty, let me check if we have some questions here. His unfortunate World War II collection. He said that he was interested in like German stuff, not only German stuff, but mostly he was interested in things like machine guns, handguns, and also basically weaponry. So apparently the cops in Russia learned that he has a collection which may contain things like rounds or, I don't know, grenades or like knives, I don't know, but handguns or parts of handguns, firearms generally. Human tragedy. That's the thing, like literally people go, oh my god. Louis C.K., my favorite comedian ever. I was in love with Louis C.K. He's such a great guy. He was before the Russian invasion, because after the Russian invasion, I saw his interview because I decided to check what the famous people, what the celebrities that I was following all this time, what do they say about the Russian invasion of Ukraine? And Louis C.K., genius comedian, seriously. I laughed my ass off when he talked about like airplanes and stuff. But he was like, did you see those Ukrainians, what they do? They share the videos of poor Russian soldiers dying and they laugh at them. How can they do that? Like, okay, I understand Russians rape toddlers. Yeah, like it's bad, of course. Russians like steal toilets, all right. Like they kill people in Bucha. Yeah, but how can you laugh at dying Russian soldiers? Like, yeah, Russians are invaders. They're bad, of course. They do, like, they decapitate prisoners. They shoot Ukrainian prisoners, castrate them. Yeah, of course, that's horrible. But how can you laugh at them dying? Oh my God! And celebrate it. You have no heart, Ukrainians. You completely deserve what happens to. Well, he didn't say that in the end, but generally it sounded like a bit like that. The cow raping attempt in Thailand. Oh my God, I cannot unsee this. Unfortunately, poor cow. Oh, yeah. I remember that Russian tourist went straight to hospital, but luckily for us, no humans were harmed that day. Russia believes they are winning this war. So I will share one thing with you. Okay, so you could understand the answer to this question easily. Let me drop it right here. Yeah, I shared it to myself. I'm so smart. Not really. Oh, and they even have a music to this. What do I do? So here we have Russian progress over the past month, okay? Russians definitely have progress. Russians have approximately 800 men, just to remind you, involved in the invasion of Ukraine. So you can imagine like million people. Currently, their official staff, their official personnel is more than 1 million people, according to the law signed by Putin. But let's see the progress the Russians made over the past month, okay? It's very, very easy to see because it's animated, and I have it right here for you. And can I loop this stuff? Please tell me I can. Yes, I can. So here we can see the Russian progress over the past month, basically. That is the Donbass. Yes, they have progress. Yes, currently we can see that they're moving constantly towards Kurakhove. We can see the occupation of Vuhledar, Chasiv Yar. There's also some tactical progress, I would say. So the front line is kind of moving not in the proper direction, right? Yes, they do have progress. Yes, their progress is approximately 14 square kilometers per day. And the length of the front line in Ukraine is more than 1,000 kilometers. So while they do that, they lose at this point around 2,000 men, like 1,700 on average on a daily basis, which means that in order to capture whole country with such a dynamic of the advance, they will need either more years than a person can live, which is like literally more than 100 years, or they will need more men that they physically have in Russia. Again, Ukraine is second biggest country in Europe. You cannot occupy Ukraine having 120 million people like in Russia, because not all of them can fight. Currently, only, I would say only 1 million men involved into this, 800 men as of 2023, and currently I would say that's around 1 million men. You cannot do that. You cannot fight Ukrainians one-on-one, that is obvious. At the same time, you cannot fight against modern weaponry that Ukrainians have, and Ukrainians are supported by rich countries, by approximately 50 countries in terms of military aid, and also generally 141 countries, I believe, condemned Russian invasion of Ukraine. Majority of them are our friends. So we are in very good relations. We receive a lot of humanitarian aid from them. Unfortunately, not enough military aid, but even with that aid that we receive at this point, Russians keep losing quite a lot of men. They calculated that losing this amount of people, approximately 2,000 a day, is okay. So they can basically continue this slow advance, and over months, maybe years, they will be able to capture the territories that are considered Russian territories. We are talking about Zaporizhia, we are talking about Dnipro, Kherson. But generally, Zaporizhia is not theirs, it's under Ukrainian control. And generally, Russians don't control any major Ukrainian city since 2022. Yes, they have Crimea, they have Donetsk and Luhansk that were captured by Russian hybrid army right after the Revolution of Dignity, when Ukrainian army was in ruins. It was 2014. Since that time, in more than 10 years, more than 10 years, Russia didn't manage to capture any major city in Ukraine. There will be people saying like, look, there's Bakhmut, there's Mariupol, there's like Vuhledar, right, Avdiivka. It's like this. Imagine that China invaded United States, right? And they occupied like 1/4 of United States, but at the same time they didn't capture cities like New York, they didn't capture like Philadelphia, they didn't capture Los Angeles, they didn't capture whatever, El Paso maybe, yeah, that'd be Mariupol. But they didn't capture, what is the capital of Texas? Dallas? Forgive me, I don't remember. But they didn't capture the regional centers, the major cities where millions of people live. Ukraine, according to Russians, did this. So according to Russian propaganda, Ukraine already captured Aleppo in 3 days, by the way, and Aleppo is generally a major city. It's a city where 3 million people live. That is approximately the number of people living in Kiev. And the sizes are also comparable. So Russians didn't capture any major city in Ukraine in almost 3 years of war. They keep capturing smaller towns and villages, and capturing towns like Bakhmut, for example, that is literally 4 or 5 miles across. That is the size, okay? The diameter of Bakhmut is like 7 kilometers. It took them gazillion casualties. I believe between 25 and 35,000 Russians literally died there, trying to take this little town. So that is the answer to your question. Are they winning? That is interesting, because if we consider the territories that are being captured right now, at this point we can say that they have progress. Are they winning in terms of, I don't know, population, etc.? I don't think so. Russia keeps being the most sanctioned country in the world. The sanctions grow. They will only increase. Today, Putin was bragging about the skyrocketing GDP in Russia, etc. At the same time, ruble is collapsing. The prices in Russia are growing. And Russia is moving towards its inevitable demise that we will see, I believe, middle 25, probably 26. And 27 will, in my opinion, will be a decisive year for all of us. Of course, unless nothing changes in Europe and in the United States, because, again, Tucker Carlson will be going to Kremlin and back. I think Kremlin might probably even like employ Tucker Carlson, because why not? They are rich guys, they pay a lot to the propagandists, and he will become extremely rich, even though he can be considered rich now, according to American standards. But if he works for Russians, he will be like, Tim Pool will be nothing comparing to Tucker Carlson, because Tucker Carlson has much bigger audience, of course. That's why Russians love him so much. Does it count as killed in action if one dies of old age during special military operation? That is a really funny one, my friend, because he's not considered killed in action, of course, if he died of old age, but he also is not considered killed in action if he shot himself. So there is this interesting trend among Russians that make extra ventilation in their heads whenever they are attacked, or that there's plenty of FPV footage basically. But fun fact is, Russian widows started like going to and from, the recruitment offices and writing letters saying, guys, where's our compensation? And they received replies that your husbands shot themselves. They're not killed in action. They're not fallen heroes. They just shot themselves. Which was a really, really interesting discovery for like Russian people. And there are several cases. I think I talked about it in some of my videos. It's kind of fun. And generally, I stand against cynicism. You know me. I'm not that kind of person. But speaking of Russians, they deserve it. Let's be honest, they really do. Tucker Carlson, his real name is Fucker Tartson. Something like that. Yeah, I think it's from, I don't know, Dutch or Danish. Maybe. In 2022, some orc died in Ukraine, is now pushing up sunflowers. Now his Gopnik brother is eating sunflower seeds. Is he a cannibal? Oh my god. Well, from this standpoint, we are all cannibals because we eat stuff that grows in the soil, and before it became a soil, it was a creature, maybe even a human being. One time I read some crazy statistics that literally, if you drink water, there's at least like 2 molecules from the pee of like John Kennedy. And I'm like, whoa, that is crazy. That is something extremely crazy. Or like when you breathe, there's definitely a couple molecules of oxygen or like carbon that were once in the lungs of like, I don't know, Einstein. But anyways. What is it with you Ukrainians and orcs? It's really easy. They invaded, and they invaded not for the first time. That's why they are bastards, and they must be punished. But the question about the cannibal, it rocks. Yeah, definitely. Today, Ali said an incredibly funny joke in the chat that never ask, just a second, never ask. My god, Ellie, where is that joke? I cannot find it. Oh no, it was before the stream, I didn't register it. Anyways. Ellie, can you please copy paste it in the chat because it was hilarious. Like the Russians don't have taste, said no stray dog ever, which is true. Literally yesterday I saw another crazy video because I like watching that, to have a better sleep. And there was another crazy video of like a Russian devoured by a pig on the front line somewhere. And I thought, why I'm not surprised? That was my first thought. Like, why I'm not surprised? Like in 2022, okay, that would be like, whoa, look at that. 2024, we were like, meh, nothing surprising here. At the same time, and this one is serious, my friend, who asked about cannibalism. This one is serious because if Ukrainians catch that pig and prepare like salo, like lard or steak, that would be considered cannibalism 100%, not because of the pig, but because of orc. Too many crazy videos on YouTube. even more crazy videos in like Telegram. Trust me. And I'm monitoring both Russian and Ukrainian Telegrams. In case of Russians, sometimes you can see some interesting information that can be analyzed, but in Ukrainian Telegram channel, oh my god, you open that stuff and there's like, Russian intestines everywhere, and you go, oh, right, that is better than coffee. Yeah, this one from Ellie. Never ask a man his salary, a woman her age, or a Bakhmut dog where it got that bone. National Guard of Ukraine approves this one. This one is hilarious. What would a Russian be if he went to China alive? I love this one. Devoured by pig, traditional Wild West method of disposing of a murdered body. Oh my god, I didn't know about it. But I've seen something like that in, I think, Hannibal movie, I believe. Well, now Russia is the biggest in the fertilizing business in 2 ways. Oh yeah, 100%. Do orcs eat the pigs that have eaten orcs? Sarah, I've seen Russians do all kinds of crazy things over the past 10 years. I believe they can easily do that. Like, they wouldn't care much, in my opinion. Maori priest will do his blessing, but there is a certain time when we are allowed to eat out of that water. Oh, I didn't know that. But Maori are so cool. What is the difference between a regular and a Russian flu? You get sick from a regular flu, but some Russian flew out of the window. This one is good. All right. I like this one. Nobody knows how many North Koreans have died yet. We don't know the exact number yet. But we already know that besides North Korean infantry, North Korean so-called special forces, and North Korean combat pilots, they already involve North Korean women. So this dude says, hello from Zheleznogorsk, sisters from Korea, Faye and Lin, let's call them Vera and Lida, serve with us already for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, which makes it middle of November, seems legit. What the hell is that freaking helmet? My god. I would be embarrassed to wear that shit. Seriously. Even though I had to. Putler hired Tucker again to brag about buying a loaf of bread for $0.01 for 1 cent to show why mighty Russian economy is booming. 100%. I think they will analyze all the flaws, all the gaps in the previous interview, and he will have another tour around Moscow. Maybe he will visit that exhibition of like destroyed tanks or captured tanks where that Abrams is exhibited, you know, on that square. Maybe he will go there 100%. I think so, for some reason. He will visit that place. Maybe he will go to... where he will go to? Russian Starbucks. Russian Starbucks. Former Russian McDonald's that is called Tasty, that's it. Вкусно и точка. Maybe there. And he will say, look, you see these hamburgers made out of like branches and feces? They cost like half cent. We don't have that in the United States. You gotta try this stuff. This stuff is so amazing. Finally, Dennis caught me live. It's a pleasure, my friend. Hogs eat anything. America was built on tobacco and the pig. Tobacco, I agree. The pig also agree. And one thing that, one thing that I find inconvenient now, as a person who can consume whatever meat, is when you go with your lady to some kind of snack bar, for example. There is 5-star snack bar not far from me, from our new place. And I'm like, oh my God, we gotta visit this one. It's so good. And we go there and I'm like, you gotta try, oh shit, because everything is made from pigs, which is really cool, but not everybody eats pigs. Alexis, goodbye, my friend. Be safe, and we'll see you next time. What's the difference between the Russian ruble and toilet paper? Toilet paper is worth more. Oh, the other day in the commentaries, one of you, my friends, left a commentary that he was in the like friend of the friend, went to the Soviet Union and said that the toilet paper comes with like wood chips in it, and it's insane, and you can literally have like a sting, splinter. And I literally remembered that. Let me show you this, because this is true. Let me show you that. You're gonna love this one. Okay, all right. Oh. So, why am I even showing this? I have no idea, but I still remember this. This is kind of new toilet paper that you can, find in like supermarkets. But Gomel, show me. Gomel, please. Ah, here it is. Oh, yeah. So this was the toilet paper that he was talking about. It's literally the thing. I'm not sure if I can find like the opened one. Gomel Drev. They made matches, and also they made like toilet paper. And if you want to know the difference between like sandpaper and toilet paper from Gomel, that is none. That is literally the same. You can use this paper to remove paint from metal surfaces or remove your own ass if you try. It's also possible. We were suffering, my friends. We were suffering back then. I have no idea why somebody, still has like nostalgia after the Soviet Union. It's insane. It's gray, and in it, like, there's generally either a hole or like pieces of wood. So you have to be extra cautious, when using this paper if there's like holes, because for obvious reasons. But it's crazy. I remember that stuff. Oh my god. A newspaper was better than that toilet paper, and that is exactly the reason why in the Soviet Union people used the newspaper as a toilet paper, for two reasons. First of all, the first toilet paper factory in the Soviet Union, as you probably know, was established 8 years after the first flight of Yuri Gagarin to space. He went to space, and he also had to wipe using like newspapers, as well as all other people in the Soviet Union, which is freaking crazy. Yeah, and another reason was that, why not? We have plenty of toilet paper. People would just hang them in the outhouse and use it. Are newspapers making a comeback in Russia? Who knows? Probably we'll see that. You get toilet paper like that in Ukraine too. I don't like it one bit. My wife bought it because it's cheap. I started buying the good stuff and she threw a fit. Then she started using it. No more complaints. Kevin, 100%. You can find one. And I believe that you also talk about the toilet paper from Gomel, because we have a lot of that stuff. The Gomel toilet paper also sold in Ukraine. Where else? Obuchiv. Yeah, Obuchiv. That is something like Gomel toilet paper. I believe they even have like the similar type of production. But if you are in Ukraine, you can buy like a roll of toilet paper that would literally cost you nothing. Seriously, they will pay you for buying the toilet paper because the prices are so small in Ukraine. Your fingers are always in shed after using such toilet paper. Yeah, you have to fold it like 5 or 6 times and everything will be fine. God. We never discussed toilet paper on my channel before. Besides, the first toilet paper factory in the Soviet Union opened after the first flight to space. Best toilet paper is that with Huilov's face on it. Maybe. On the other hand, I think his face brings bad luck, I would not risk to even wipe with like toilet paper with Putin on it, because who knows what kind of disease you can get from it. I picked a bad time to be eating stew. I'm so sorry, my friends. I apologize. We talk about all kinds of shit here. But speaking of stew, the other day I realized that having breakfast at like 7 p.m. is not the best solution. It sucks. But, with moving and packing everything and like buying stuff, that is the only option, because I also have to keep this channel running. Russians use double-sided tape as a toilet paper. Yeah, they just, glue their butts so they don't need toilet paper at all. Like, why using it if you don't have food? So that's the thing. Folks who discuss food discuss toilet paper sooner or later. That's logic. Absolutely, my friend. Yeah, I should have thought about it earlier. Speaking of stew. Yeah. Actually, I discovered this incredible snack bar. Absolutely amazing people, amazing personnel, the staff, and they're just so good. And I had bratwurst made pommes, which is French fries and the sausage. I still can't really understand like the difference between different kinds of wurst, but I will. But this one was good. And then she was like, Senf? And we're like, what? And she's like, Senf. And my lady's like, no. And then she shows the mustard. I'm like, yeah, sure. And the mustard was so good with this sausage. Jesus. It reminded me, in Ukraine we have Drohobitska sausage, which is really nice. You can eat it raw, of course. You can eat it cold. You can also drop it on the frying pan and roast it just a bit. I will show you, because I can. All right, let's close the toilet paper. We have... Is it this? No, guys, I'm sorry. It's not the one. We have, not Drohobitska, we have... we have Domashnya, I think. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So, you have this stuff, right? And this stuff can be consumed cold. It can be also consumed hot. It can be consumed with ketchup, with whatever sauce, but it can be consumed on its own, basically, because it's just so good. And it's literally meat with proper amount of spice, I would say. Like literally proper amount. Not too much, not too little, just the way it must be. Tastes amazing. And the bratwurst that I tried reminds me of this one, big time. Let it hang on the stream, on the screen for a while, okay? If you don't mind. Because it reminds me of home. It was nice. And then there is this Italian restaurant not far from my place as well. But I never managed to get inside for some reason. Like the schedule is absolutely crazy. But I already found a place where you can buy like Thai noodles, rice, and sushi, not far from there. That is Kyiv, my friend. Kyiv. Yeah, one of the Ukrainian viewers was absolutely mad at me because sometimes I pronounce it as Kyiv, which may sound as if I'm saying Kyiv. That is something so weird. I never say Kyiv in my life because it's a Russian way of calling my city. It's like, my God, how to compare it? So, dear American viewers, imagine if you had to call your country Соединенные Штаты Америки, right? Like, you have to call your country this way. Because this is the way it's called on the map, on the Russian map, right? And you would be like, why the hell should we call our United States of America Соединенные Штаты Америки? Why? And we were like, because it's on the map, because like whole Russian-speaking world calls your country like that. And you would be like, fuck you. We are United States. We're USA. We're not США. We are USA, right? This is how we're supposed to be called. We don't care. Same with Ukraine, same with Kiev. Russians call it Kiev, Ukrainians call it Kiev. But for some reason, because a lot of my viewers also say Kiev, like without knowing, like what's the deal. This is something that I caught from people, and sometimes I have this scene of saying Kiev, Kiev, Kiev. That's my flaw, but I will change. Hello, Starsky. I hear that Emelian from Pskov is Ushanka. Well, of course, he is. He is, but we haven't seen him since he took summer tire garage duty. Has he lost any parts, or is he still a complete Ushanka? He is a complete Ushanka. I believe that his spirit is absolutely fine. He got Ukrainianized. Ukrainizationized. I cannot say the same about his former body, of course, but I had to wash it, and it still sucks. It still looks just like its owner. In Dutch is Kiev too. Are you Dutch people? I didn't know that, by the way. During the Trump impeachment, the ambassador to Ukraine said Kiev, and that is when I started changing my pronunciation and seeing the Kiev spelling. Yeah, that's the thing. We have this hashtag saying Kyiv, not Kiev. To Ukrainians, it's a big deal, actually. It's a really big deal because it's, again, it's as if they call you like США instead of USA. So the correct pronunciation is Kyiv. It's written in a really weird way. It's written as Kyiv. Oh my god. It's written as Kyiv, actually. But it's written according to Ukrainian transliteration. And Kyiv is written, and there it is in the chat. Kyiv is written and Kyiv is spoken. I think I will have to make a small lesson about the Ukrainian transliteration, because we have a lot of problems with names of, for example, Ukrainian cities like Zaporizhia. How the hell do you spell that? Bucha. Some people say Buka. Then Kyiv, because, like, why? And in Ukrainian language, the Y letter is pronounced either as Y in the I. All right, no, I butchered it. Or it's pronounced as I. In some cases, as E, which is crazy. And letter I, the Latin letter I, is always pronounced as E, as in peach, E, right? But in English, it's almost like I. Yes, my friend, Cyrillic alphabet is absolutely crazy. Absolutely. Would I change the alphabet to like Latin alphabet in Ukrainian language? I don't see reason why not, because people in Poland did it, people in like Czechia did it. Everything works fine and perfectly well. In Ukraine, people in Turkey did it as well. Why not? Everything works. It just depends on our own desire. Generally, like, people find it so confusing to read Cyrillic letters, like Ukrainian word for a restaurant, right? I heard many times people from the US, for example, they would say "pek topach." What is that? And I have to explain them that it's actually a restaurant. Polish language has magic letters, that's for sure. That's for sure. Good evening from Finland. Hello, hello, beautiful Suomi. How are you? Let me bring a little additional info. Sorry, let's turn off the sausage because it's hard to read the text. The capital of Romania is pronounced in the world as Bucharest, but in fact in Romania it is pronounced totally different, Bucuresti. Ah, I didn't know about that. Oh my god. That is interesting. That's something new. Zh is my favorite. Yeah, that little letter, that star, that is pronounced as Zh, which is the first letter for Jopa, the S. That is Zh. In Zaporizhia, we have two letters Zh. And you have to, like, slide this letter, you know, like make it long, like prolong this letter. Zaporizhia. I know Turkish for kebab. I think it's pretty much kebab. Ah, yeah, I had dinner. I had dinner today. That was my breakfast. Yeah, that is like zh. That is the equivalent of Ukrainian letter zh, the star. Right? This is how you say it. In Zaporizhia, like, sometimes even I get lost when I'm trying to transliterate Ukrainian names, because Zaporizhia, this is what you use, like two of those. Zaporizhia. That is crazy. In Germany, they called Polish sausage Krakower because of the city of Krakow. This was my favorite street food, much better than brats or the grow white sausage. Tak jest, krakówki. Albo parówki. Kurczę, zapomniałem. Ale yeah, we have those like Krakow sausages here. I saw them. Generally, if you want to find some good sausages, like you can see a lot of them in the supermarket. On the stand, there's like hundreds of them. But if you want to find some sausages that are 100% good and you don't want to get disappointed, find Polish stuff. It always works. Cyrillic was born from Greek alphabet. Yeah, partially it was. It was born from Greek alphabet mixed with some kind of crazy local whatever by Cyrillo and Methodius back in the days. That is why this font, this font Cyrillic, is called this way. Yeah, for J sound, we use this letter. And also in Polish language, they use RZ. Watched the video once about Ukrainian language, previously being Ruthenian. Ruthenia is the name of Ukraine back in the days, like 1,000 years ago, something like that. This one is that looks like a stick and like two balls. That is yi. Like in the word yizhak, if you combine yi and zh, by the way, and add a here, okay, we will have yizha, which makes the food. Daniel, better late than sorry. Yeah, that's what I'm saying every single time. Every single time when I eat okurcza kuiva. When Polish people swear, that is such an art that's like a show. I spoke to a Polish person today. It was like music to my ears, seriously. I thought Kirill and Methodius invented glagolitic, from which Cyrillic was derived later. Yeah, that's the thing. So it is considered that they invented this one, which is glagolica, that was used in the old Slavic language. And later, this one turned into this one. And this one, right? It was crazy. They had some extremely cool letters, by the way, that looked like eyes and stuff like that. Like, one time I checked it, it was so interesting. I hear there's big trouble in Little Dagestan lately. There's a lot of trouble there, not only in Dagestan. Recently, there were troubles in Abkhazia, actually. And Russians are very upset with Abkhazians because they introduced in Abkhazia in the early 90s what they later introduced in Donbass in Ukraine, the hybrid war. And now Abkhazians seem like highly disappointed with Russian politics, and it seems like they want to go independent from Russia. And Russians now call them traitors and backstabbers, which is kind of fun, but this is something they both deserved, I think. At the same time, if there was no Russian hybrid warfare, Georgia would never get fragmented into like Georgia, Abkhazia, South Ossetia. People in Chechnya would be still alive. People in Ukraine would never die. Ukraine would still be united. People in the United States would not want to kill each other just because they're wearing different colors. People in Syria would be pretty much alive, I believe. Generally, in the Middle East, there would be much less bloodshed. And the only reason all this happens is because we have Russia, unfortunately. There are people who vote for far right or far left, people who don't care at all about their future, people who vote for wrong values. And by wrong values, I'm talking about everything that is against people's freedoms, people's rights. But the reason for all this, my friends, is literally Russia. It's literally because Russia invested their communications, they invested their efforts, their money, and their weapons to make this world unsafe. Even those people who don't support democracy, why they don't do that is because they watch Russian websites and they collect information from it. People are generally not bad. I believe there's majority of good people populating this world. It's not because people are bad. It's because we have terrorists who use information as a weapon against us. That is the only reason why people might be considered bad. They were not, and again, I think it's our problem as well, that majority people who do some, I don't know, who commit crimes or, antisocial people, the reason we consider them bad is literally because we as a society, we don't say often to them that they have a choice, that they can be better. Probably that's another reason why it happens. And at the same time, what Russian propaganda does is basically they say everybody sucks, that's why should you obey and why should you follow the law? Why should you follow the rules? If everyone else sucks. Look at America, right? Please someone take Tucker Carlson. One thing about Tucker Carlson, of course, he will publish this interview on Twitter. Of course, it will become extremely popular. Again, like 30 million views easily, right? On the first day, I predict. But on the other hand, Twitter is lost. There was one of my friends in the comments today who said that they miss me on X, right? And they remain there to fight propaganda. Makes no sense, unfortunately. I realized that because you can try fighting propaganda and disinformation on X, but if your posts are throttled big time anyways, then it doesn't make sense, my friends. Nobody will see that. This very platform, it is made for a simple purpose, to brainwash people. That is the only purpose of Twitter. Brainwash people and make money, of course. Your posts, they have absolutely no chance to survive there. I give you 100%. That's why there is no sense to even use it. Blue Sky is the future. Blue Sky is the answer. Is the same Twitter and it's skyrocketing, making like 1 million new subscribers, new users every single day or something like that. Currently, I think it's even more. And Elon Musk is so upset because of the fact that people are leaving his platform. But this is something he deserved. Tucker's nose is so far up Putin's ass that Putin chokes on it. That is true, but people will do crazy stuff for money, my friends. They absolutely will. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, my friend. I really hope that it will help at least 10 people to change their mind. Hopefully. Musk kicked out of Blue Sky. Really? I didn't know that. I didn't even know that he had an account. Probably he didn't, because that would be so unwise for him to have an account. Not like unwise, but shameful, apparently, to have account on Blue Sky. Even Tom Cruise believes his own entire bullshit. Well, Tom Cruise can do that. I hope Scientologists don't watch this channel. Holy shit, Scientology. I gotta dedicate a different stuff, like a different episode to Scientology, because this is so amazing. On the other hand, you can just Google it. Tucker will find himself being used for prisoner exchange by Putin when he's done with Tucker. The problem is a bit deeper here, my friend. The problem is Russians have this tradition of eliminating people who know too much. And if people like Tucker Carlson or Tim Pool currently feel extremely happy, and celebrating that finally they can make a lot of money, apparently, there is a problem. Sometimes Russians eliminate people who know too much, regardless of the outcome. So it's regardless, either Russia loses or, God forbid, wins. People who know too much usually walk out a window. So if I was one of them, I would not celebrate much. But on the other hand, again, people sometimes do crazy things for money. Scientology, Christian Scientist, and Mormonism are all toxic brainwashing cults. I would say this. I can understand all religions, but if the founder of a religion literally said that he wants to create a religion from scratch, and he's like a sci-fi writer, I would not really go there. I need more proofs that religion is legit. But on the other hand, if people find it good, if it's something that brings you peace, relaxation, do it. Back in the days, before the service in the National Guard, like before all this crap started, I was really interested in Zen Buddhism and in like Taoism, how do you call it? Tao. I read a lot of absolutely amazing authors like Chuan Zhou. There was this tiny smartphone, and on this tiny smartphone, I installed like an app that would allow me to read textbooks, and I read Tao Te Ching, like think a lot of them, like I don't know, at least 10 huge books on Eastern philosophy and things like that. And I realized that this shit is really cool because it makes you think. Like there were basically a bunch of stories that you're reading and then you're trying to understand them. And when you do, you go, holy shit, this is so cool. This is powerful. I didn't explain anything to you, but generally those things would allow me to just disconnect from the world when I was going to or from the job, which is like 1 hour in a bus or a subway or whatever. And I realized I like it. Like, I would not go extremely religious, but those things, they help me relax, and discover something new. So that is something I would probably even advise to read if you want to learn a bit about Eastern philosophy, Eastern mind. Okay. Tao Te Ching. Well, this is the way it was pronounced in my version, and my version was unfortunately, like all of those books, unfortunately, were in Russian language. So it's Tao Te Ching. Like Sun Tzu in Russian language, also in Ukrainian, is spelled as Sun Tzu for no apparent reason. But again, it's like Kyiv, I read Ron Hubbard book. He was a good writer, which 100% true. I read that decades ago, long before I knew what Scientology was. Some of that stuff he talked about in the book became Scientology. That's the thing. Like all those crazy stories about space, aliens, and gods and stuff. Yeah, that is exciting and attractive. Absolutely useless in terms of being a religion, but incredibly cool in terms of making money, in terms of making people pay, to get to clean their soul. And like I swear, I'm saying this and I see their lawyers like writing a lawsuit against me. Anyways. Hi, bro. Hello, my friend. So cool to see you here. Yeah, and that is, speaking of Scientology, Jehovah's Witnesses, that's the same thing, by the way. Oh, I remember back in Kyiv, I had this like ring camera, so when somebody rings or just walks past the door, the camera records the person. And I remember 2 of them came to my door, and they tried to like talk about Jehovah and things like that. And they rang they pressed the button, and then they started like looking into the camera and stuff. They looked like aliens, really. If I was Joe Rogan, I would literally piss my pants right there. Seriously. I even made some screenshots. Maybe I will show it to you. Yeah, another thing. Oh my god, it was so funny today. I also made a screenshot for you guys. There was a commentary. Did I save it? Yeah, I did. So there was a commentary from one of the viewers. Currently, if you're running a YouTube channel and you read the commentaries, and when there's a commentary like thank you, for example, some simple sentences, YouTube artificial intelligence generates answers for you. So you can reply like, thank you very much, anytime, come back again, and things like that. So literally you just, like press the button and send a reply, which I never do. My replies are usually boring, like thank you and much love, but this is what I mean. And this one was extremely funny because Evie said, thanks for the update, Operator Starsky, only facts, Slava Ukraini. And I have several options what to reply, you know, like those automatic replies. And one of them is, I am just a humble operator working with the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. I didn't make it up, seriously. The YouTube artificial intelligence created this reply for me. Oh my god, Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. Seriously? First of all, it was Ministry of Interior. YouTube, please consider that. Alright? And second of all, of course, thank you so much for the comment. Yeah, auto replies. This is so fun. Ministry of Defense. And second thing, dear YouTube, I'm working for George Soros for free, unfortunately. So far, still waiting for the bill to be paid, but I have no luck. Ministry of Defense. Oh, all right, guys. We are approaching just a humble operator. Yeah, that one cracked me up so bad today. Dear friends, we are approaching 2 hours, and I'm so happy to see you tonight. Thank you so much for being with us. YouTube thinking you're Budanov 100%, maybe. Generally, there was a case when I think one idiot took me for Budanov by mistake on a YouTube, like some Russian bot. But anyways, it was a long time ago. My dear friends, let's finish this one. Let's call it a day. I'm literally starving and I have nothing there because I didn't buy today, like anything. I was extremely busy, and I will for the next week or two. I will try to keep this channel running as it ran before, but who knows? A lot of renovation, a lot of moving, a lot of transportation and packing, and oh my god, I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm happy that I don't have too much. But my dear friends, I was so happy to see you tonight. I was so happy to know that you are fine, that everything's good with you. Please stay away from spiders. They suck. Don't forget to eat well. It doesn't suck. It's good. My dear friends, thank you so much. Thank you for supporting Ukraine. This is the proper thing to do. And we will see you next time. Goodbye. Oh, and be safe.